Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to welcome you here this evening. Thank you for coming and being with us. Uh, this is a special milestone for me, and every milestone is a marker in life. And this is an important marker, and it sort of marks the gradual shift from the material world to the spiritual world that I have been planning and working on in my recent past life. I'm delighted that I've reached a stage where I felt I have some things that I could share with my family, close friends, associates that I met, and fellow journeymen who share the same kind of aspiration that I'm trying to pursue as part of my life. And I thought that a nice way to spend this day would be actually to take the opportunity to share this with a wider audience, so that you, who all are, sort of pursuing your own internal individual journey, can take some clues to some wisdom, maybe some experience, and maybe some resources from what some of us have experienced to make your journey, more successful, insightful, and more enjoyable. In the last few years, there have been significant changes in my belief system, and it's, sorry, I'm breaking the rule myself. Significant changes in my belief system, and that's primarily happened because I've had the chance and opportunity to travel a lot, speak to a lot of people, see a lot of situations, sort of experienced a number of things myself personally, and just, I guess, general maturity in life, and some realizations that happen as you become older in life, And I thought that this would be a good opportunity to try and put some things together that, can make some kind of sense, for people who have, initiated the path of, trying to become closer to the divine. And our goal here this evening is to, as I said, thank divinity for all that he has given us. And one of the interesting quotes that I heard the other day was, the nature and the universe is so perfect that every day when we get up, the sun rises and sun sets, and there's beauty all around us and all that. But, just one simple, unworthy thought in our mind can, finish off the entire day for us unnecessarily. So it's a lot to do with how you look at life and how you perceive life. And that's an individual journey, as I said, an individual lens, which I hope you will be able to, sort of appreciate some things that may happen over the evening today that may be of interest to you. So with that, and without further ado, I did want to take the opportunity to introduce my immediate family who are here, because it's very rare these days that all four of us are in the same city at the same time, and many people here perhaps not met my entire family together, and some of you are new friends of mine and may not have known all of them. So I'd like to first introduce my charming, lovely wife, whom I met over 34 years ago, Catherine, mother of my two lovely daughters, Priyanka. Priyanka, will you come, please stand up and face the audience, Catherine, so people recognize you. And that's Priyanka at the back, waving out to all of us, and Divya, my younger daughter. We are all, pursuing our individual pursuits, so we keep traveling on all different directions, but we are all delighted that for this evening we could all be together. Priyanka came in specially all the way from Fez, where she spends a lot of time, to be here with us this evening. Divya is a corporate executive working for a company in Delhi, and Catherine is looking after her mother just the way I am in Paris, and is still teaching mathematics, and got a, as you know, a deep interest in Jain mathematics. So if any Jains are here who know anything about maths, she's a good point to converse with. I would also like to take this opportunity, to thank the Creator, for being so kind and generous with us, and me particularly. I've had a very, cherished life, and I continue to enjoy it, and I'm very grateful to him, to bless us with, so much of his goodness. And I would also like to take the opportunity and really to thank my friends who have all worked hard with me and with many others to put this event together. So this is not something that I've put together. It's actually it's an example of how we as a community can work with each other and support each other from different faiths and from different religions, different belief systems, different age groups, and yet be able to enjoy each other's company and do something which we believe is meaningful to all of us. So with that, I'm going to hand over the mic to my dear friend Robinson, who describes himself as a traveler in life who intends to journey well. As the evening goes through, you'll get to see more of his talents. So with that, Robinson, over to you, please.
O God, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. That's what we deserve. And it is at this point of time, I would like to remember a couple of people who are not there with us today. And it's also a moment of silence in order to remember those of people who have been responsible for who we are and what we do. I'm going to read a couple of names that were sent to us who are closer to the family. Ajit Grewal, Analika Kapoor, Colonel G.S. Chadha, Gautam Chadha, Marisa Leah Han, Pires Kriyabain, Ravinder Pal Singh, and Sunny Singh. And may I ask you to please observe a moment of silence, also to remember your loved and near ones who are in eternal peace. Thank you all for being on the dais in lighting the flame of hope and love and light. May the peace of the outside and of the inside be with each one of you. And as we look forward to sharing various moments of togetherness, joy, and celebrating Tony's birthday with each one of you.
We have
please
tremendous amount of talent in India. And as you travel from one place to another, one comes across different people in very humble settings, in unusual settings, and you begin to recognize that there is something special about them. Charan is one such person. I saw him perform at a wedding, and he sings very beautifully, and it caught my heart, and I hope it will catch yours too. Charan's in the service of the Almighty led him to discover his passion for music. He believes music is a vast mystic ocean ruled by the gods themselves, and he is nothing but a mere vessel trying to explore its realms. He has been in the world of music since the age of 12, first performance at age 17, has performed in 8 languages across 7 countries, and specializes in religious hymns, bhajans, Sufi songs, and ghazals. He attributes his inspiration to his master, Shri Partha Sathi Rajagopalachari Ji of the Shri Ramchandra Mission. Join me, please, in welcoming Charan. Thank you. Charan.
ना नमाज आती है मुझको, ना वुज़ू आता है। ना नमाज आती है मुझको, ना वुज़ू आता है। सजदा कर लेता हूँ जब सामने तू आता है। और तेरी दया से अब दिल की हालत ऐसी है, तेरी दया से अब दिल की हालत ऐसी है, सजदा कहीं भी करूं नज़र बस तू आता है, सजदा कहीं भी करूं नज़र बस तू आता है। सच्ची बात कही थी मैं, लोगों ने सूली पे चढ़ाया, मुझको जहर का जाम पिलाया, फिर भी उनको चैन न आया। सच्ची बात कही थी मैंने, सच्ची बात कही थी मैंने, वो दिल कहाँ से लाऊं, तेरी याद जो भुला दे। चांद भी देखा, फूल भी देखा, बादल बिजली तितली जुगनू, कोई नहीं है ऐसा, तेरा रूप है जैसा। बस जाऊं मैं दिल में तेरे, बस जाऊं मैं दिल में तेरे, प्रेम के पंख लगा के। तू ही माझी, तू ही मंजिल, पहुँच ना पाए फिर भी ये दिल, तड़प तड़प कर दिल ये हारा जीवन को, प्रभु दे दो सहारा, जीवन को प्रभु दे दो सहारा, प्रेम के पंख लगा के। मुझको ऐसा संवार, जीवन बन जाए सेवा और प्यार, कर दो कृपा मेरी, भर दो झोली, खोल दो दिल के सारे राज। कृष्ण तू है दया, तू ही नाथ, तू ही कृपाल। कृष्ण तू है, कुछ पाकर खोना है, कुछ खोकर पाना है, जीवन का मतलब तो आना और जाना है। दो पल के जीवन से एक उम्र चुरानी है, जिंदगी और कुछ भी नहीं, तेरी मेरी कहानी है।
Ever since I've been born and I've been attending Akhand Paths and Ardas and the Kirtans in my life, and I must have attended hundreds and hundreds of them. One feeling I always came back with was I didn't understand much what was happening because I'm not so proficient in the language, and the words are quite difficult, and sometimes just the way they are sung, it becomes even more difficult to understand the essence of what's going on. And what we try to create in this performance today, and I apologize for my foreigner friends here who may not have got everything, but the words were very simple and very clear, and the message was very, profound and very appropriate for the times for us to think of. As you enter, the spiritual side of life, you begin to change your perceptiveness to, what's going on, and that's what mindfulness is all about. I don't know whether you noticed, but there was one song that Charan sang, and it was to Jesus, and the flowers cried. Did you see the flowers on the floor? That's the only song, the flowers cried. And yeah, you can see them right now. It didn't happen in any other song. I just wanted to observe that, the divine presence of what happened at that moment. I would like to thank Charan and his team so much for being with us.
We are not only physical bodies, we have subtle bodies at 6 more levels. Even our texts speak about the physical body as Annamaya Kosh, the second body is it Pranmaya Kosh, the third is Manomaya Kosh, and the fourth is Gyanmaya Kosh, and the last is Anandmaya Kosh. We also talk about them as etheric body, emotional body, mental body, and then the spiritual body. The spiritual body has one more element in its own body, which is known as free will. So whenever by free will I do not do a righteous thing, it's not about right and wrong, because right and wrong is very subjective. When I don't do righteous things and I suppress my action and my emotion, that energy is generated within the physical system and the subtle system, and it goes and sits somewhere. And when it sits somewhere over a period of time, we keep accumulating similar energies. And when I keep accumulating those similar energies in a particular spot, at some period of time, I'm an engineer, so basically I analyze everything in terms of engineering. The energy itself changes the voltaic balance of the cell, and we all know there are a lot of electric currents in our body, and that disrupts the functioning of that cell, and then we have it at the physical level. So it starts with thoughts disrupts the emotion disturbs my energy body, and ultimately it enters the physical domain, and we see it as a physical manifestation. But the disease is already there at the thought level. If you look at fear, is it at a physical level or at a thought level? I am asking the audience. Thought level. Isn't it a disease? Doesn't it cause us disturbance of action, of being normal in a situation? It does. But if I persist in that and I am subjected to that fear, let's take home scenarios or the office scenarios. My boss is very angry every time, right? Or I have some thing in my home going on and I am afraid, or the child gets afraid, or we are continuously being pumped with fear right from our childhood by our parents and elders and even people who look after our caretakers. What happens to that? I keep storing that fear as a thought and the emotion it generates in me. They are linked. And when it is stored in me, the next time I have a trigger, I jump practically. But I keep carrying it on, my energies start getting disturbed. My energy body is not able to flow the prana that is required, and ultimately I store it at some place. In hypnotherapy, we talk about body syndromes. There are specific areas where we store specific feelings, and they can be uncovered, seen at the root level, the causative factors right from the time it started. And many a time we see that they are not only starting in this life, but they are starting at a life somewhere. I am not saying immediate past life, some life. And even we carry that energy at times with birth, because mind accompanies the soul, which impregnates, also comes into the fetus of a mother's womb. So that's the part of analysis of the diagnosis, as we say, because I have just give one or two examples. For example, if you look at asthma, and I have healed a number of asthma cases, they are all past life issues of dying in a situation where you got choked. And when you see a similar situation or similar environment that triggers that asthma, and it could be any causative factor, we don't know unless we examine it, go to the subconscious, ask for the reference point and handle it and heal it there. And then that energy is released.
All this. But I can share with you some comments that I heard from other people as part of my journeys. One is that we generally tend to not believe what we cannot see. Yeah. And all this energy play is all invisible. You know, before X-rays were invented, you know, they couldn't be seen, but they produce some results. Now we believe in them, right? Similarly, cell phones, right? Now cell phone, you know, can you imagine sitting on a board in the ocean and you're talking to somebody in Delhi without any wires in between? There's a hell of a lot of energy that's happening. So there are lots of different forms of energy, yeah? And some are more dominant than others in different people and so on and so forth, right? So this whole thing is a lot to do with energy play, which the allopathic world today doesn't really address at all, yeah? So that actually is the biggest opportunity for us to try and understand and get our act together, because, you know, it's not integrated, it's not evidence-based and all that stuff. And it doesn't hold together as a clear hypothesis for people to, you know, believe in from a rational viewpoint. But people who understand it and deeply understand it and have had experience with it, they can do some marvelous wonders with it, and some of them are right here on the table, yeah? Secondly, you know, this whole issue about root cause versus symptom, yeah? That we tend to address the symptoms. You got a fever, take the crocin, right? Instead of finding out the root cause. And the same root cause, you know, can produce different symptoms in different human beings, yeah? So, but we in the, you know, in the main field of world, you know, we tend to classify everybody as diabetes. If he's got a sugar problem, it has to be a pancreas issue, not a kidney issue, and so on and so forth. But actually their root causes can be very different for people who are exhibiting the same symptoms, yeah? And I have personally been an example of that. I went to the National Health Institute in Istanbul for, you know, getting off my, you know, diabetes medicines. They were sort of becoming more and more every year. And in 1 year's time, I've lost 20 kilos of weight. I'm off metformin. I'm off all diabetes medicines. My blood sugars are normal. And the issue is not my pancreas. I know it. It's somewhere else, right? And they're addressing that, you know, through that system. So these are personal examples which have happened to me. And I'm just on the tip of the iceberg. But one thing I very firmly believe in, that we have the ability to heal ourselves, yeah? Sure. And if we find the right technology, we can do wonders. And I was, you know, I was with Sadhguru Vasudev a few weeks ago, and one of the comments he made, and he's a very wise, intuitive and mystic, and he's a great guy, and we're very lucky that we have a master like him who's alive and available to us if we want to, you know, sort of tap into his expertise. And one of the comments he made is that we are now finally beginning to understand cancer and why it is happening and why it is increasing, and it's got to do with emotional states and energy states in our minds, you know. And, you know, and I don't know whether you know, but, you know, I got a call the other day, a very good friend, you know, young, galloping cancer overnight, you know, and expected lifespan 15 days or something like that, you know. So this is a serious subject, you know, and we are just opening the doors on it right now. We are quite ignorant ourselves in this whole area, but I want you to think of it and reflect on it and see, you know, and contribute to the development of this movement to look at things in a wider perspective.
Thank you, Tony. So that leads us to the next question, which is, what is healing and what are the techniques you are using in your field to heal the different energies or different diseases that you see in your patients?
Bhavan therapy is basically works on the connecting tissues of the body, and like Dr. Chowdhury just mentioned, that everything is kind of gets suppressed and keeps getting built on the body. And there comes a point of time that we don't really realize where the issue and where the problem is. So Bhavan is a very, very gentle kind of therapy. So we just do 2 to 4 moves, and the patient has to just listen to his or her body, and invariably the body talks. So you either have a sensation which we call, which could be a hot, cold, any kind of sensation which the body says, and that triggers an indication as to where the trauma or the issue is lying there. Like for
healing techniques.
This science of gem therapy is to balance what is missing from the body. If red is missing, you feed the red color through that stone. Because stone are storehouses of colors. So the body becomes normal, the aura becomes normal, the organ becomes normal. That is healing. Very simple, very complicated.
Forms. Light is one of the most powerful forms of energy, yeah, and therefore colors of light have a big implications on their impact on the human body. And similarly, there are other energy forms which are very powerful, particularly sound, and therefore the whole thing about mantras, and affirmations, etc., etc., they all fall into that sound category, So these are very powerful. They're all invisible, but they're very, very powerful, and they have a profound impact on the human body. So I'd like to hand over.
When we effect healing with Theta Healing, we work at the core level, which is what you have experienced in this lifetime. That would be the frontal lobe of your brain. That's the way we visualize it, but that's too technical. And then you also do a healing at the genetic level. You could be carrying a belief from any ancestors, from any bar on your, on the DNA ladder. Then we heal from the history level, which is the transmigration of your souls through lifetimes. The soul level, which is the repository of all that you are. We heal at a cellular level. We use the etheric bodies, we use the mental body. I use the energy matrix also, and like I said, time and space continuum is different outside the gravity of planet Earth. We have parallel, I believe, we have parallel existences as well, so we could look into that. And you take it from there. You release the negative beliefs, you put in the positive beliefs, and you check the person through applied kinesiology, which is called muscle testing, to see whether there is an effect. And the changes are almost instant.
How do our deeds affect our well-being? That will probably summarize a lot of comments that you made about our thinking. Yeah.
I've done thousands of past life regressions, and in the process, we talk to the departing soul about the lesson it had and whether it learned that lesson. And in all this work that I had, I found 5 common things for people who make this journey on earth to live through, to learn and go back. I found there are many, many purposes they choose to come. But 5 common things that I found was, first was learning acceptance of other people as they are. If you don't accept people as they are, it creates a reaction in us, and which is mostly negative. And we only affect ourselves, we don't affect the other person. Do we affect the other person? No, we affect ourselves. So the first thing and the foremost I found very common across thousands of people that I saw, or thousands of past lives that I spoke to, was acceptance. Second one I found was patience. You see the irritability that develops in a person who is not patient to accept the speed of work of the other person, because patience deals with time, right? So if the other person, and every day in our life we see, whether it's a maid in the house, whether it's a peon, whether it's a clerk, whether it's a manager, if he doesn't do it fast enough according to my concept, right, we lose patience and we become impatient, and that creates a big energy in us, which is disruptive. So the second lesson I found people came down to learn was patience. The third most common was tolerance, and tolerance has to do with behavior, right? So if we are not tolerant towards other people, then also it generates a lot of negativity in us. The fourth one that they came down for was learning compassion. I am sure all of us understand it, all of us have it, but we use compassion very selectively in our life. It's more in our circle of family and then a social group, very rarely in professional group, but we encounter the occasions every day. And it is very difficult for us to be compassionate towards one and all. The last one was unconditional love, and it was one of the most difficult things which I found souls feeling. And they did come down to learn that But it was very, very difficult. And so they remained in a chain of birth and death, which is a part of what goes on if you don't learn it. You have to repeat that class. And so we again take birth.
I can answer that question from a business perspective. We are trying to look at that model, how to make it more easily available and acceptable to the world in an organized manner, in a believable manner, backed up by some evidence so that there's believability and all that. It's all over the world right now, totally fragmented, not organized, etc. You know, human societies run in a particular directions, depending on what, the momentum behind the thinking is of that society, So America, went, in a particular way, Europe went in a particular way, the Japs went in a particular way, humanity has gone in a particular way in the last 100 years and so on and so forth. But, a lot of things are happening in the context of today where there is a renewed interest in all this to bring it all together, right? And the work is just beginning to start. This is one of the interesting discussions we are having. Is tip of the iceberg, is a starting point. There's a long way to go, but at least it's beginning to light the fire. Robinson, as I mentioned earlier, is a dear, very dear family friend and part of the family. Also, an associate of my, from my past lives. And when I asked Robinson how would he like to describe himself, in few words, he said that he's a traveler in life who intends to journey well. He's a fascinating individual.
Walking in a city where people continuously tell you that Delhi is not a city to be walked, I need to shock you beforehand. I do almost 15 kilometers of walking everywhere. Walks from the university through strange alleys which have changed names over a period of time. But Delhi is very close to my heart, and very often heard saying is that Delhi is the Rome of Hindustan. I would rather go by other saying that Rome is the Delhi of Italy probably. It has monuments per square kilometer, probably more than any other city that you will ever venture into. 13th century, 14th century, 16, 17, 21 will overlap at the blink of a day. Recently at a lecture that I was doing, somebody asked me, you just went through 3,000 years of history with 2 sentences, and happened to be an American friend who happened to be a friend, so I could tell him that modern American history is 250 years, which sounds like a lot to the world. In India, 250 years doesn't even merit a
evening. I have great pleasure in welcoming Padma Shri Vasafuddin Daga, whom I have known for over 30 years now. I met him with his father and uncle at that point of time, and I just got to know Catherine. And Catherine, was deeply into music, and through that love for music, I got to know him. And over the period of many years since then, we have become very good friends, and have begun, to appreciate not only the music that he brings, but the philosophy, the perspective, the love, and the affection, for all of us. So I'm delighted that he has been able to find the time to be with us this evening, to bring you to appreciate how music can relax you and your spine in particular, so that you can, as a listener of his music, get the full benefit of the meditative and the healing that his sound can bring, to you and your health. And his profound statement was that the body is actually the oldest instrument which created all the other music instruments, and we spoke about sound and the healing properties of sound in the session on healing a little earlier. So this puts it into context of how you can get onto the journey of healing yourself with sound. So with that, Vasif, over to you. Thank you for being with us.
With me is Pandit Mohan Sham Sharma. He belongs to Nathdwara, Gharana. And on the Tanpura, my students, this is Santosh Kumar. And Gopesh Gaur. Both of them are my students. And not a single Indian classical music concert is complete without these two instruments. Whether it could be one, but you need this drone, the tanpura, or you can call it a lute, drone lute, which is very essential in Indian classical music. Or you can say it's our focusing point. We focus our singing with this sound, the sound which is coming out of the human body, the voice, also the string instrument or the wind instrument, whatever instrument it is. But we focus our singing with this. So it's very essential part of Indian classical music. Jada me
you very much for a lovely, delightful, soulful performance. We really appreciated it. A lot of our spines are energized. Thank you and your team to put this lovely piece for us.